So, somewhat recently, I uploaded a 5-hour video on the Terrifier movies, and I was genuinely expecting to get mocked, or, I don't know, people would hate it, or they get mad at me or something, but honestly, the general reaction has been really nice, and I don't have the words to describe how happy it's made me, and I can't thank you all enough for that. But unfortunately, if you live in certain parts of the world, namely the UK, Ireland, Falkland Islands, Gibraltar, Guernsey, Isle of Man, or Jersey, the video's blocked for you. If you're subscribed to my channel, you might have seen a community post where I whined about the copyright issues this video's had, and if you're one of my patrons, you probably saw me throwing a tantrum for several weeks straight. This entire process trying to get it so anyone could watch this video was exhausting and horrible. And I will admit straight up that I wasn't the smartest while dealing with this. The thing that ultimately got the video unblocked in most countries was sending a dispute to the copyright holder of Terrifier 2, which I didn't try for about 2 weeks. My video is very clearly fair use. It falls into commentary and analysis, but I have heard so many horror stories about copyright stuff and how the copyright holders almost never release their claims, and I just figured I'm gonna get this worked out on my own. I'm going to edit it until there's no copyright problems left. And while I did eventually edit it to the point that All Hallows Eve wasn't being claimed anymore, no matter what I did, both Terrifier and Terrifier 2 were getting claimed. So eventually I just decided, well, fuck it. I'm going to try disputing Terrifier 2 and see what happens. And it worked! Within 2 days, the claim was released. I was shocked and excited, so I also sent a dispute for Terrifier, which I was 100% sure was going to be released too, but nope. The copyright holder rejected that dispute, and the only thing I could do at that point was appeal their decision, which could result in me getting a strike against my channel, which, no, absolutely not. After giving it some thought, I decided, okay, I have some problems with the current version of the video. I'm not happy with it. I'm going to re-edit it and fix some things, and I'm going to dispute both of them again. And I'm going to make a much better argument this time. I went to extreme detail with the disputes, explaining what the clips in the video were being used for and what points I was trying to make, but the exact same thing happened again. Terrifier 2 was released, but Terrifier wasn't. Both of them are under the copyright of the Lasso Group, but Terrifier also has copyright agency España listed as a copyright holder, and they seem to be the ones rejecting my dispute. So yeah, that sucks. I had to call it at a certain point. I wasn't going to keep uploading videos and disputing the claims because, I mean, like, that seems like a good way to get my channel deleted, and just straight up editing wasn't working, and I needed the video out before October 10th, when Terrifier 3 came out. So, yeah, this is what we ended up with. In a lot of ways, I'm lucky. The copyright holders for Terrifier 2 could have rejected my dispute, and if they did, the video would be blocked globally, and I wouldn't be able to do anything about that without escalating and putting my channel at risk. And also, I don't do YouTube as a job. I'm sure this entire process would have been way more stressful if I was in danger of not being able to pay my bills, especially since I couldn't get the video monetized. The claim from Terrifier meant that the copyright holder is the one getting my ad revenue. It's extremely disheartening to have this video do so well. In fact, it's my best performing video ever, and I haven't gotten a cent from it. You know, like, that doesn't feel so great. But I would rather my ad revenue go towards a small indie movie series than into the pockets of a CEO. Like, I would be pissed if it was a company like Sony or Disney and they were taking my ad revenue. But I guess the money this video is generating could be going towards creating Terrifier 4, which is a nice thought. Not to mention that I was doing this for years without being monetized, and there are some videos that I just refuse to monetize because it would feel wrong. Like the presentable Liberty video, like no way I'm ever going to monetize that. Getting some extra income would be nice. Obviously, like, I live in the United States and everything is ridiculously expensive, but that's just a bonus for me. Special thanks to my patrons though, I love you. But still, what if this was my job? And what if the claim for Terrifier 2 wasn't released? And I was just going to have to edit this video until it wasn't being claimed anymore. What chance would I have had of that actually happening? I noticed some things while I was going through this whole process. Some things that struck me as wrong. Like YouTube's entire system is broken and needs to be dismantled kind of wrong. I'm not the only person who's ever complained about the YouTube copyright system. People have been pointing out how broken it is for years, but I kept coming across stuff that didn't make any sense, and I think it's worth pointing out. I don't really have a lot of solutions in this video. I just kind of want to like wildly gesture at all the weird stuff I noticed and hope that someday maybe someone will do something about it. Okay, first off, around the end of August when the video was basically done, I planned to start putting some pieces of the video as unlisted on my YouTube channel and then link them onto my Patreon. This is when I started noticing copyright problems. Part 2, which was basically half the Terrifier section of the video, got copyright claimed. It didn't seem to do much, but I did edit a bunch so it no longer had the claim on it. And then I uploaded part 1, which was mostly All Hallows Eve, and it was blocked in Ireland. Now, one of the biggest problems, or at least one of the most annoying problems with the way that YouTube approaches copyrighted content is that if it finds something from copyrighted material, it will only give you one timestamp and point to that being the reason that you got claimed, even if there's a bunch of moments from the video that are problematic. Every single time I uploaded part 1 of my video, it flagged a different timestamp. And after 8 or 9 attempts to fix it, I decided that it was basically impossible. And I mean, I've had videos blocked in just 1 or 2 countries before. It sucks, but I just figured, okay, let me put the video back together, upload it, and see what happens. What happened was that it was blocked globally, so not a single person in a single country could watch it. I was, a little bit floored by this, especially at some of the stuff that had gotten claimed. Like this one part where I put an article over footage of Terrifier and lowered the opacity of it so the article was easier to read. The article is covering up most of the screen, and yet the darkened movie footage behind it was claimed. A scene from All Hallows Eve was claimed, where I had blurred it due to body horror, and then some director's commentary from Terrifier 2, which I had lowered the opacity of and blurred. So that was obviously really alarming. So blurring the footage, darkening the footage, and putting a graphic over the footage wasn't enough to escape the copyright system. And just to be clear, this wasn't the Lasso Group or any of the other copyright holders manually claiming my video. This was YouTube's automatic checks that they do whenever you upload. So YouTube found an issue with this, not the copyright holders. Now, obviously this is a 5.5-hour video, and based off of my experiences with YouTube giving me a different timestamp to fix when I uploaded a chunk under a half hour, there was absolutely no way I was going to deal with that for an entire 5-hour video. It took 4 hours to export this thing and another 4 to upload it. So what I ended up doing was splitting the video up into 10 chunks. I actually already had them broken up anyways because some of my Adobe files got corrupted and I was trying to make sure I wasn't gonna lose all my work. And then I exported the individual chunks in lower quality, uploaded them to YouTube, fixed whatever they told me to fix, and then I just kept going like that until they stopped finding stuff. And this was my entire life for 8 days. I was getting up before work, editing, uploading, noting down the timestamps, fixing them again, uploading them again, over and over and over again for about an hour. Getting home at 7 or 8 o'clock at night, doing that for another 4 hours, only eating and showering while stuff was exporting. My mom called me on one of my days off to ask if I wanted to come over and make cookies with her, and I said no, because I had to fix my stupid YouTube video. All in all, I uploaded over 80 edited chunks of this video in 8 days. My sister at one point asked me to unlock Netflix for her, and I busted out laughing when I opened my email. Look at this. Look at my notifications. Do you know what this does to a person? Do you know what it does to your brain? This should have never happened like this. Why does YouTube only tell you one of the things that they find? The fact that every single time I uploaded, they gave me something new to fix is completely unreasonable. If they find 50 problems, they should list all 50 out so you can fix them all at once. And that's not even to mention some of the stuff they flagged. Like this. All I have is a screenshot. My apologies. But if you notice, the claimed content on this particular upload is from 2412 to 2419. And if you look above, you see that at 2417, it's not a movie clip. It's a drawing that I made. My stupid bad animation got claimed as Terrifier 2. My friends told me to consider it a compliment, but I was way past the point in finding humor in this. We were on day 4. There was also this one that I had the foresight to screen record.
How would you feel if, God forbid, he attacked someone in our family and people celebrated him?
Foreshadowing is a literary device.
That's It's Bomber Guy. That's not... Why is that part of the claim? Was It's Bomber Guy in Terrifier 2 and I just never noticed? I was slashing the hell out of my video. I had initially gone into this thinking that the rule was that you couldn't have a clip go over 8 seconds. I'm not really sure where I got that from, but at one point, YouTuber Classic VHS Horror tried to help me out on Twitter, and they said that they've never had issues if the clips are under 7 seconds. Regardless, I was claimed for clips over 6 seconds, and then 5 seconds. Eventually, I whittled it down though. Part 8 gave me some serious problems for whatever reason. That was the part that contained Barb and the little pale girl. That section of the video took a complete other day after the others were cleared. But I got it eventually. At that point, I quickly re-recorded the ending ramble at the end of the video, in which I said this. YouTube said that they're allowed to be there, so in theory, when I put them all back together and upload the entire video, I'm not going to have an issue. But I don't trust YouTube. I think they're going to find something, and if that happens, I'm going to turn to the joke. And then exported all 10 chunks in 4K. Put them into Premiere Pro, exported it as one big video, and then uploaded it to YouTube. I was slightly nervous, but still confident that I powered my way through it and that the problem was over. After all, if only individual parts of the video were cleared for copyright, surely the entire video would be too, right? So this was when the despair started to set in. This was also when I decided to reach out to YouTube on Twitter to ask how the actual hell this makes any sense. Hey Team YouTube, how come when I uploaded my video in pieces, no copyright material was found, but when I put them all together, it gets blocked for copyright? To which YouTube responded, if you received a content ID claim, this is automatically generated when you upload content that matches another vid in our system. To resolve it, you can 1. Remove the claimed content with studio editing tools, or 2. You can dispute it if you think that it's a mistake. Which, yes, those are the tools built into YouTube to handle claims, and I'm going to talk about removing the claimed content in a minute, but that's obviously not what I was asking them about. Yes, I understand that, but I uploaded the entire video in 10 individual chunks to test them for copyright, and they all came up clean. But then when I put them all together into one video, copyright material is found. To clarify, when an uploaded content matches another vid or segment of a video in our Content ID system, a claim is generated. You can resolve it by removing the claimed content with studio editing tools, or dispute it if you think it's a mistake. More on the resources we previously shared. So yeah, they literally said, to clarify, and then said the exact same thing again. I don't know if this is a bot or a human forced to stick to the same exact rigid script every time, but they were dodging the question. I'm not asking how to resolve a copyright issue. I'm asking why this video was copyright claimed and this one wasn't, when they have the exact same clips in it, going on for the exact same amount of time, in the exact same order. The only difference between the content in these 10 parts and the longer video is that I re-recorded the very end of part 10 to talk about the copyright problems I was having. And that was my voice talking over footage of me drawing while music that my sister created played in the background. There's nothing to copyright claim there. It should affect nothing. I'm going to put the footage that got claimed next to the footage that didn't, just to show that they're the exact same thing. This is the same footage from All Hallows Eve. This is the same footage from Terrifier. This is the same footage from Terrifier 2. But yet, one of them is copyright claimed and the other isn't. When I responded to YouTube's clarifying tweet with screenshots showing this, they just ghosted me. Stopped responding completely. And as I was sitting there, staring at my screen, completely flabbergasted and angry that this was a problem I was currently dealing with, I suddenly remembered something. Wait, this wasn't the first time I uploaded Terrifier footage to YouTube. First of all, there was the original version of part 2 that I uploaded for my patrons, which had been copyright claimed, but I didn't look any deeper into it. But also, I have a friend who Sienna reminds me a lot of. I briefly mentioned it in my video. And my friend hates gory movies, so I couldn't show her Terrifier 2. So I made a little compilation video of some moments from the movie where the character reminded me of my friend, uploaded it to my side channel, and sent it to her. At the time, I had left it on unlisted, but I didn't remember having any copyright problems, despite the fact that a lot of the clips were way over 5 seconds. I mean, it wasn't blocked globally. My friend was able to watch it. So I went to my side channel to investigate, and copyright protected content found. The owner allows the content to be used on YouTube. And for the record, it says almost the exact same thing on the original upload of the second part. Copyright protected content found. The owner allows the content to be used, but you can't monetize your video. To be super thorough, I made a compilation of All Hallows Eve, and that still got blocked. So yeah, I can't do anything about that. But yeah, evidently Terrifier and Terrifier 2 are allowed to be used on YouTube because the copyright holder allows it. It says it right here. But my video is getting automatically flagged by YouTube and blocked in every country for having footage from Terrifier and Terrifier 2. How does that make any sense? So I went back to Twitter. So how come on this video I uploaded onto my side channel it says clips from Terrifier 2 are allowed on YouTube, but on this video on my main channel got blocked globally for having Terrifier 2 clips in it? Yeah, there's some typos there. We're just going to ignore that. But yeah, and then I included some screenshots. YouTube then responded asking me to follow them so that they could DM me the next step, which seemed pretty promising. Did they also see something very wrong with how they were flagging and blocking my content when it was clearly allowed on YouTube and wanted to get to the bottom of it? So I did what they said and followed them. I decided to give them a few days to do what they told me they were going to do, and once again started up the process of trying to fix my video myself. Obviously, clearing pieces of the video wasn't working, so I started doing what I wanted to avoid in the first place, and began editing and uploading the entire 5-hour video. Obviously, there's a lot in this thing that could potentially get flagged, so I once again started slashing at my video. At one point, I didn't have a single clip go on longer than 4 seconds. That's how desperate I was. There was a point where I had cut out 3 entire minutes of my video, and it made the video infinitely worse. How could I possibly prove my points effectively if I can't even play more than 4 seconds of dialogue? After a few days went by and YouTube never DM'd me like they said they were going to, I uploaded the new slashed up version of the video, and, well, it got claimed again. And then I slashed it again, and yep, that got blocked too. So I followed back with YouTube and I said the exact same thing, hoping that they'd once again offer to help me in the DMs like they did before. But no, unfortunately, this time they were sticking hard to their scripts. And I was pretty done at this point. The video was meant to go up on September 13th. I tweeted this on the 16th. Like, I was sad and frustrated, and my mental health was shot. I had wasted weeks of my life trying to fix this myself. I could have had cookies with my mom. Out of desperation, I decided to look at the tool YouTube has to cut out copyright content out of your video. I had always been against using it because, like, it cuts out the copyrighted content. It doesn't blur it or cover it up. It removes it entirely. And since most of the claims were clips I was talking over, that would mean there would be entire chunks of my analysis missing. Still, I decided to look into it and see if it was somewhat useful. And, well, first of all, absolutely not. It's not useful. It doesn't just get rid of the timestamp YouTube shows you when you get claimed. It gets rid of all the copyrighted material. You could even type in the exact timestamps YouTube told you were the problem, and it's just like, nope, that's not going to get rid of the copyright claims. If you want to get rid of it, you have to cut out all the copyrighted material YouTube found, which in the case of my video was 3 hours. YouTube would only remove my claim if I removed 3 hours of my video. And some of the footage in those 3 hours isn't even Terrifier or Terrifier 2 related. We got news footage of the Staten Island clown, videos taken from Damian Leone and David Howard Thornton's social media pages, Catherine Corcoran's podcast Scream Dreams, interviews and panels recorded and uploaded by people not affiliated with Terrifier, articles, Wikipedia, a literal drawing I made in MS Paint, clips from the movies Chuck, The Bye-Bye Man, The Strangers, Child's Play, X, the Halloween movies, Friday the 13th, Return to Nukem High, which I made an entire video on, and it never gave me any problems with copyright. So in order to get a copyright claim lifted from Terrifier, I have to cut out a video of David Howard Thornton doing funny voices that he uploaded to YouTube 13 years ago, long before the first Terrifier movie even existed. I don't even think the original Terrifier short existed at that point. That is beyond unreasonable, and I think it says something about the way YouTube views its content if it thinks that a person would gladly trim 3 hours out of their video. Taking out this much would mean that there would be entire chunks of analysis missing. I wouldn't be able to make any points. The entire reason that the video even exists in the first place would be erased. It would just be complete nonsense. And again, this is after I got all the individual parts of the video cleared for copyright. So YouTube looked at all these videos that span from 15 minutes to 54 minutes and couldn't find anything to claim. but when they're all together in one video, they find 3 hours worth of content to erase? Is the video's length the problem? I wonder if maybe YouTube's checks are assuming that because the video is so long that I'm just uploading the movies in their entirety. Granted, the fact that the clips aren't in order and that there are sections of material that aren't from Terrifier should have tipped them off that this wasn't the case. But still, I don't have any other explanation. It doesn't make any sense that these are fine, but this isn't. I know then that the obvious solution would be to upload the video into parts, and I did give that a lot of consideration. I mean, all I'd have to do is make these chunks public, and then there would be no issues at all. Anyone could watch them. I could monetize them. But the video isn't structured for that. I wrote this thing as a long, continuous ramble where individual topics flowed into each other. A discussion about the writing flows into the bedroom scene, which flows into a gender discussion, which flows into Final Girls, which flows into a Sienna character analysis, which flows into a Barb character analysis, which flows into the Cloud Cafe, which flows back to Sienna. I put a lot of work into that, and it isn't going to work if it's split up like this. The chunks aren't split up in a way that makes sense. I split them up based off of where the music stops and ends. Not to mention that would mean like 10 new titles, 10 new thumbnails. I'm not even sure what to call these to make this situation make sense. I'd probably have to record little intros to all of them, and I'd probably also have to do outros because my patrons are supposed to be credited in my videos, and the highest tier gets their name read out loud. I guess, hypothetically, I could leave them on my channel and have them unlisted and then linked under another video, like, say, this one. So if someone in the UK or any of the other affected countries wanted to, they could watch them there, you know, ignoring the fact that some of the editing is different than the final product, and, like, they're in lower quality because I needed to upload them quickly. But I mean, yeah, hypothetically I could do that. But yeah, just me making these 10 videos public was a complete last resort. My cousin Joanna was insisting that I do split it up into parts, but maybe not these parts, you know, maybe just parts that are an hour or so long each, which is definitely more doable. And if I was going to do that, I would want to split them up per movie. But again, it's not structured like that. Stuff I talk about in All Hallows Eve comes back when I talk about Terrifier and Terrifier 2. I set up a joke in the beginning of All Hallows Eve, which isn't paid off until Terrifier 2, over 2 hours later. And then you got stuff like the gender discussion, which included every single movie Damien Leone's ever made up to that point. It would be weird to have that in a video solely dedicated to Terrifier 2. This project was built from the ground up to be one video, and splitting it up would ruin it. And I just feel really, really frustrated because I feel like I'm getting in trouble for making a long video. Like, clearly the movies I'm talking about are allowed to be used. Clearly I'm using them in a way that YouTube approves as fair use. So what's the issue? I don't expect anything to come from this video. I have a tiny following and YouTube doesn't care about me, and that's fine, whatever. I just feel like I should point this all out because there is something wrong here. It's broken, it's contradictory, it doesn't make any sense. Like I said, I ultimately got lucky. Terrifier 2 released their claim so most people can watch the video now. Not all people, and it is pretty absurd that Terrifier is allowed to be used on YouTube, but they didn't release the claim. But at this point, it just is what it is. At least it's somewhat viewable. But what about the people who want to make a long video about a movie where the claim isn't released? They'd be absolutely screwed. They'd have to destroy huge chunks of their hard work to make their video visible. I guess if I was gonna suggest any kind of solution, it would be extremely helpful to list out all the timestamps that YouTube deemed as a problem. I mean, YouTube clearly does keep track of all the copyrighted material it finds. There's absolutely no reason that they shouldn't list it out for you. I'm not the only one having issues with this. Around the time I was finishing up this script, other YouTubers like Ryan Hollinger, Rockland Graves Productions, and Dead Meat started getting slammed by copyright too. I think we're starting an era where YouTube copyright is going to get crazy, and it sucks, and it makes me really unsure about what I'm going to do moving forward. Like, people have been asking me to make a Terrifier 3 video, and I absolutely intend to. I have a lot of strong opinions about that movie, but like, I also don't want to deal with this bullshit again. So yeah, be patient with me. It'll happen when it happens. And again, thank you for the continued support. Honestly, like, the reception that video got made it all worth it. It made me more happy than I could ever say. I'm just annoyed that this was ever a problem in the first place, but I guess it just is what it is, at least for now. Thank you to my patrons, and special shout out to top patron Katie Louie. Just wanted to come on here and whine for a little bit. I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do next, but I do have something in the works, so hopefully I don't have any more copyright problems. Alright, goodbye, like and subscribe, I guess. Goodbye.